properly displayed. It has to be displayed left to right, not upside down or sideways. Then the other question is why you're riding it then. You don't have a helmet on, you don't have a license to operate it, and you're subject yourself to being arrested. Is that what you want? No, sir, I don't.
And he doesn't want to be arrested, and I'll tell you why, because there's a couple of things that have gone wrong. He doesn't have a motorcycle driver's license, and the plates on the bike don't belong to that bike. He could have been arrested by the police officer, but Castro made one plea, and he said, look, I'm a Cleveland school bus driver. The police officer said, okay, I'll give you a break. He wrote him 2 tickets, but he let him.
What does the police officer think now? I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, well, he thinks much. He says, you know, that really haunts him. But here's what he says, and not in the way you might think. If he had arrested Castro, he says, no one would have been in that home to look after the women that were there. No one would have been there to provide food, to provide water. They could have been chained up. He would have been locked up. And a little baby less than a year old suffering, all of them. So he actually feels pretty good that he let him go. But he was also an officer actively involved in the search to find those women. I mean, a real
incredible that he still had the dash cam video as well.
Yeah, if you know him, he keeps a lot of
it. Is that right? Yeah, that's great, Gordon. I appreciate that very much. The story's still unfolding here in West Cleveland. It broke open on Monday when Amanda Berry decided to try to break free with her daughter, screaming for help from the front door of that house behind me. But one of the men who heard her and helped her escape was Charles Ramsey. You know that, a neighbor. We heard from him yesterday on the program. Well, today, Cleveland's police chief said Ramsey is the key to breaking open this case and deserves a reward. As I mentioned, I talked to Ramsey last night. He made it clear that he wasn't the first person to hear Berry's cries for help. He actually said he saw a neighbor from across the street running toward the house, and that's what also got his attention. Another neighbor was already on the scene. Listen.
Heard that girl scream and saw him run across the street, and I went outside and wondered what he was doing. And Amanda say, I'm stuck in here, help get me out. So he either don't know English that well or panic. But he just looked at me and was like, he's a girl. And that's all he did. So here I come with my, half-eaten Big Mac. And I look and I say, well, what's up?
Well, the other man was Angel Cordero. He doesn't speak English, but he did realize that something was very, very wrong. And tonight, CNN's Espanol Maria Santana has more on the role that he played in Monday's rescue. You talked to Angel.
I did. I spoke to him today, and Angel Cordero Anderson, he's not a stranger to this block. For the past 8 years, he has visited the house directly across the street from Ariel Castro's house, where his good friends live. He eats most of his meals there, and he says Monday night he was doing the usual thing, having dinner, when he heard screams coming from the house across the street, and this, Anderson, is what he told me earlier happened next. Let's listen.
I looked towards the front door of the house where the kidnapping was. I saw that woman screaming, asking for help. She couldn't open the door. I looked over, I crossed the street, and I went to ask her if the house was on fire. She told me no, that I've been kidnapped for 10 years. And so I pulled the door, but it was locked with a chain. And so I tried to open the door, but I couldn't, so I had to give it a few kicks. If you see, the house has 2 doors. She opened the inside door, but the glass door, the one on the outside, that's the one that had the chain. And so when I tried to open the door, it had the chain, and so I couldn't open it, and I kicked it. Several kicks underneath, and she managed to escape from underneath the door. And when she managed to escape from underneath the door, she remembered the little girl, and she went back inside the house. She took the girl and came out. When she came out with the girl, I said, let's get out of here, because if that guy arrives, he's going to kill us. If he finds me here, he's going to kill me. He'll kill you. She crossed the street and came to this lady's house, and she used the phone. If that woman didn't manage to come out to the front door, that kidnapping would have continued for years.
Angel also spoke to you about his interaction with the little girl, the 6-year-old girl.
He did. He gave me a lot of insight into the state of mind of this little girl. He said that, as you heard, that Amanda Berry ran back into the house when she remembered her little girl, but that they were both hysterical, crying. The little girl was very scared, very agitated. He said that he was actually trying to calm her down while Amanda Berry was making the 911 call, and he said that it was obvious to him that this little girl had not been around a lot of people, that she had probably not even been around a lot of traffic, a lot of commotion, so she was very scared. He also said to me that the little girl ran out of the house in what he called a diaper, only wearing a diaper and a very sullied shirt. So it's incredible that he says, a diaper, and she was 6 years old.
Does he contradict what Charles Ramsey said? Because Ramsey did say to me he saw this man running across the street, and that's what got his attention. Do their stories jive?
They do not at all, Anderson. And I have to tell tell you that Angel Cordero, as well as Altagracia Tejera, who owns the house across the street from Ariel Castro, they strongly dispute what Charles Ramsey is saying. They're saying that he actually only showed up after Amanda Berry was already out of the house, after she was already making the 911 call, that he kind of peeked into the house when the commotion was going on and tried to call the police himself, but that they told him, well, she's already on the phone with the police. So, you know, they did not explain to me why they think he might be saying this, but they definitely, I mean, the woman who owns the house actually called him a liar to me. She said, he's lying. This did not happen this way.
It's actually what some people that I talked to, I guess her daughter, maybe, the woman who owns the house across the street, the night it happened, and she also had said, though, there's people outside saying that they helped. I guess she was referring to Charles.
Right.
Again, hard to know exactly what went on, and everybody has a different perception of things, but certainly Angel Cordero deserves a lot of recognition for being involved.
And then this family, I mean, they told me, we're not looking for any recognition or to be in the media. It was very hard for me to even speak to him. He didn't want to speak to me, but he said, we're just happy that we were able to help and that they're home and that they're home with their families and they're alive.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Great interview. Thank you very much. Maria Santana from CNN Espanol. Coming up, there's still so much, as I keep saying, and it's important to recognize that we don't know about what these three women went through. What exactly went on for those 10 years. We do want to take a close look at the psychology behind the relationship between kidnappers and victims. And I use the term relationship cautiously, but that is what develops over the course of a long time frame. We've all heard of Stockholm Syndrome. We're going to hear from a forensic psychologist about how victims end up sort of bonding in a strange way with their captors and how fast that can actually happen. Also, next breaking news, after 4 months of trial, verdict in the